Okay, so second coaching session. So are you unranked or is this working? Now you're gold. Okay, perfect. I don't actually have to change the stream title. Last guy coach was also gold. Perfect. I don't. So that's good.
Yeah, is
The fuck.
being on NA server gonna cause any issue?
No, no, it's not gonna cause an issue.
Okay.
It usually works fine for me. I don't actually have to bother with that. Okay, nice. Nice. I'm on any, otherwise I can't add you. It's kind of dumb. They don't really tell you that, but the battle app is actually localized. So the only way to add people who are on NA is you have to log on into a game on an NA server and then add them from there. Otherwise it doesn't work.
Really?
Yeah. Or the person you're sending to has to log into your server to accept it. It's really dumb. Like it took a while for me to understand that, but it's yeah. So let's have a quick look at. We played a bit this season. It's better than nothing. It's better than my last guy. I haven't played anything. So
Adjust some settings here and start.
oh, this is your first season as well. Damn.
Well, I played so I played a lot in well, not a lot. I played in 2010 when it came out, when
Oh yeah.
Wings came out, and then a little bit again. I think in maybe 2012. I think platinum in 2010. Not as good in like 2012 or 13, whatever that was. I just recently picked it up again. Um, and the game's changed a bit, but
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember, you need SCVs and you need to make
Yeah.
guys and you send the guys to the other side and then you kill the opponent.
All the good
You
stuff.
know,
Yeah,
the basics. Yeah.
it's the same. But yeah, the game has changed quite a bit. Like the economy is totally different.
Yeah, the speed feels a lot different. It used to be, you could one base for a while, and now it's,
No, you can't. You can't do that now.
two is, the minimum.
Any base taken beyond 2.5 minutes is an all-in if you have an expandable.
Yeah.
So it's very different in that way. So yeah, if you have any replays, that would be a good place to start, probably.
Trying to remember. Of course, I don't label them very well, so it's gonna take me a second to find.
If it's somewhat not if it's not 4 minutes, it should be okay. Doesn't really matter if you win or lose, or whatever. So yeah, yeah.
Okay, I think so. Let's see here. Add you to the group, maybe.
Yeah, I can do that. Make me host in the lobby when you made the lobby. Uh, so you should be watched with others in the replay thing. Unless it's old replays. We got the game got
Created in
patched.
previous version.
Yeah, the
Oh
game got
no.
patched. The game got patched pretty recently. So that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah,
those
that's
are all
not working.
gone.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they're not. They're not gone.
Well,
They're not gone, but you can't really watch them with others
gotcha. Okay.
if they're not all patched. So it's pretty awkward. Yeah. Then maybe what we'll do is take a look at. So what kind of opening builds do you do? Do you have one you do in every matchup? Do you mix them up?
I've been trying to do. I had seen something that was kind of like a 2-1-1, I guess, was standard. A little bit ago is kind of what I was trying to do. And then I had seen that the 1-1-1 is actually kind of preferable
Yeah.
and easier to do because the timing isn't as exact, which
Yeah,
is
so
easier for someone of my skill set.
yeah, no, so I do 1-1-1 in every matchup with some variations depending on what I'm up against. But yeah, the 1-1-1 gives you much more versatility. The 2-1-1 is you're very locked in to a certain playstyle up until like whatever 5 or 6 minutes. Like there's no real variation you can do. And
Hmm.
if someone chases you, you have to react very strongly to that and go off plan a lot. Whereas if you do a 1-1-1, you pretty much like, oh well, he's doing a road rush or like a Ravager rush or whatever, and you slap on a tech lab and make like 2 tanks. It's not that big a deal. Like, of course, there's more to that. Like, there's more to the whole than that. You need to build bunkers and shit, but you usually not thrown off as much. With the 2-1-1, you're really focused on Marines early on. That's pretty much all you're gonna have for the first
Hmm.
couple of minutes. So it's a very good build to for practicing mechanics, but it's sort of it's trash versus terrain, right? Like it's
Yeah,
really bad. So that's the downsides to it. But for learning mechanics, it's okay. Um, as a rounded build, it's not very good.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I think I was using it because there was an absolute. There was a, you should be able to have 16 Marines and 2 medevacs going to the other side at like 4:30 or 5 minutes or something like that.
yeah,
So that's what I was aiming for. And I was always a little bit slow, but I think maybe that's why I tried to pick that and tried to go to that because it was something tangible I could aim at. 5 minutes, have this stuff.
yeah.
And
I
I could
have
kind of practice
some
that.
similar builds with 1-1-1
Okay.
that have some similar benchmarks. If you wanna try those out, we could look into some of those if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since we don't have any replays or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
I don't have replays either because this is any. I'm gonna have to actually show you them. So um, one build I think activity you're gonna have to do a different build. Activity is so weird. Most of the time. You can make me party leader so I can do all the good shit. Nice. Oh, they changed in the last patch. There used to be a join game button, and then there was the join lobby, and then was to create with mods. I accidentally create everything with mods now. Try to. Okay, yeah. So let's have a look at this build. This should work versus Zerg and Protoss. Um, so I'm gonna walk you through it right now. So this is basically 1-1-1 gas first with a wind mine drop. And
Okay.
yeah, and you can do some variations because you can get a cyclone if you want. You could go into Hellions, similar build as well. You could even get a Banshee. It's a bunch of things you can do. I wouldn't recommend a Banshee, um, unless you feel really comfortable micring and macring at the same time. Because Banshees are very micro intensive. So
Yeah.
Not enough minerals.
so it's gas first. So gas on 15. Right.
Not enough minerals. Additional
And then you
supply
can
depots
SUV
to
scout with this SUV or not. It's up to you. Or you can wait for the Reaper.
Not enough minerals.
It's all good. Now you make the rugs. Constant SUV production. Duh.
Hmm.
I shouldn't have to say that. That should be self-evident. We're not gonna cut SUVs at any point here. So
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'll end up with 100 at the end of a game. I always make
okay.
SCPs.
Yeah, that's actually too many.
I know. I've got the opposite problem.
Yeah, you should stop at like 75 or something. It's usually the sweet spot.
I think I'm not too good at managing saturation. Like I'll have too many on.
Yeah. Okay, so 19. That's when we stop SUV production, make orbital and a Reaper. Then we make
Not enough minerals.
CC.
Yep.
And then we make the factory as soon as we can.
Yes, sir.
Not enough minerals.
So the supply depot timing is really late with the second supply depot with this build.
Command center upgrade.
Because
complete.
we're gonna get even the refinery first.
Hmm.
This.
In the rear with the gear.
We're gonna scout with the Reaper. You don't have to micro the Reaper if you don't want to.
Not enough minerals.
So like this.
Not
So
enough
this
minerals.
from this point we're gonna
Not
pause it.
enough.
From this point this oh shit, I surrendered. That was the wrong button. But I was gonna pause. Okay, but from that point you can do that with every right. You know what we can do? Let's do this. So if you quit out of that, we can fire it up where we were actually.
Yep.
Sort of messed up.
So score screen
Yeah. It's,
or
yeah,
or
score
return to
screen.
game.
No, score screen. We'll fire it up again. Yeah. So from what I wanted to say is from that point you can, like up to that point you can do the same thing in all three matchups, basically. Let's see, where's the game? There you go. So we can jump in where we were. That's the great thing. I don't actually have to do it all from where we were. So gas first into Reaper expand. Right, this is standard. Like this is super standard, and then see how do we resume this one? Command. Oh yeah, we have to go back a little bit because after you surrender, you can't actually pick up the replay again. So let's see. Yeah, okay, now we should. I should be able to do it. So there we go.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Not enough minerals.
And that's pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
So constant SCV production, right?
Mhm.
What's going on? SCV ready.
Now we're gonna start a mine and the starport. Oh, I didn't. What? I'm pretty sure I hotkeyed my Reaper. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're gonna start mine and the starport.
Bad news.
Add-on complete.
And marine production. Right. As soon as that reactor is done, I'm gonna start marine production.
SCV ready.
And then second mine straight away. And if you want in TVP, you can burrow it like next to this mineral, next to your main mineral line or something. If you're afraid of oracles. And then
Okay.
And then start the medevac. And starting the supply depot about now.
You want a piece of it. SCV ready. SCV ready.
Okay, here comes the weird part about this build,
Not enough minerals.
where we start up a tech
Not
lab
enough minerals.
on the factory. I'm gonna explain why.
This better be good. Ready for dust-off. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
I heard that. Wait.
And then you go drop these with mines.
SCV ready. What's going on? In the rear with the gear. SCV ready.
Now what?
Gangway. SCV ready.
Add-on complete. Additional supply depots required. Not enough
SCV
minerals.
ready.
Somebody get me out of this mess. ETA, 1 minute. Talk to me.
Complete.
SCV ready.
Not enough
Okay, and this is the
minerals.
sort of setup we want, right? This is the 2 base setup we want with a third on the way, right? We want 2 barracks, one with a tech lab, one with a reactor. We want 1 starport with a reactor, and we want 1 factory with a reactor. Okay? This is the sort of setup we want. These things should now be constantly producing. Okay? And as soon as you have 400 minerals, because you're gonna have excess minerals on a 2 base economy with this sort of setup.
Yeah.
As soon as that reaches 400, you plop on the expansion, as I did. Right? So that's the main thing. And then sometime now we want to start up double eBay
Not enough.
as well.
Ready for dust off.
So about now
SCV
Ready for dust off.
I can't build here.
to get those upgrades started.
Big
Stim is
job.
on the way.
Who wants some? This
Additional supply
SCV
depots
ready.
required.
you want a piece?
Additional supply depots required.
And also supply block. Thought it was good when it came to that, but I guess not. Yeah, and from here, like, I would push when Stim
Additional supply
finishes.
depots required.
Do some sort of
Mhm.
push, just to put pressure on. Right, now we're gonna supply drop.
Go ahead.
Start 1-1.
Ready for dust off.
Sometimes it, like from now on, I don't have it all planned out. Right, now on, I'm just we're just making shit at this point.
Yeah.
SCV ready.
But then now you want to push sometimes when Stim finish.
Gangway coming through.
That probably won't win you the game unless your opponent is really bad.
Base is under attack.
Yeah, and now you want to add on more production.
In the rear with the gear. What's going on?
When you have your double eBay armory on the way, 1-1 on the way, that's when you want to start adding on more production. Right?
Go, go, go.
So now we want to slowly go up to like maybe about 10 barracks or so. Right, over time.
Give me orders.
So combat shield,
Big job.
Command center upgrade.
gonna push. Like I would probably drop.
Yeah.
So I'd probably do something like this.
Research complete.
This better be good.
Maybe
Talk
wait
to
one
me.
drop as well.
Your forces are under attack.
Where's the emergency?
Gangway coming through.
Oops. I know what I'm doing.
Bandit.
Not enough minerals.
This better be good.
Get the add-ons.
SCV ready.
Picking up or dropping off?
Gonna like drop.
Ready for pickup?
Who wants some?
Not enough.
Yeah, I could just kill him now if I want. This is a very easy AI,
Add-on complete.
Right.
but that's not. Let's grab our third.
Who wants some?
Upgrade complete.
I can't build here.
Start
Not
2-2
enough
as soon as we
minerals.
can.
Go, go, go.
Add-on complete.
It's about to get heavy. Right. This better be good. Yep. Huh? You're
Not enough energy. Research.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Mineral field depleted.
Go ahead. Let's have a blast. Kaboom, baby. SCV ready. In the rear with the
Yeah, so we just when we get excess minerals, we just add on more production. Like you know, this is just basic macro stuff,
Not
right?
enough energy.
Mhm.
Mineral field.
Marines, mines, medevacs, right, and marauders.
gangway coming through.
That's what we want.
It's go time. Bad news. SCV ready. You want a piece of me, boy? Who wants some? Go, go, go.
Additional supply depots required. Additional supply
Yeah,
depots.
so that's basically it, right? can just quit out of that now. But that's the basic idea, right? So we have a Widowmine drop, we have a stim timing, and then from there, it's normal macro. I mean, pressure here, there, make unit. Right, nothing
Gotcha.
weird. So, probably gonna do now is let's practice the initial build once, at least. Can get a hang of it. Now I can pause, so it's fine. We can do it step by step. If you have any problems with it.
Okay.
Okay. So I usually rally my first SCV to the ramp. That's usually a good way of doing it. You can queue up your second SCV. There you go.
SCV ready.
Oh, not two. Only one. There you go. And then supply depot. And then one more SCV. Set the rally point back to the mineral line. There you go. One more SCV and then refinery. And then one more SCV.
SCV ready.
I don't know. I don't know if this.
Oh, one more.
Yeah, you can probably get the barracks straight away. I don't know. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, actually. Whatever you do there. And now we're gonna SCVs to 19. And then on 19 we're gonna make the orbital and the Reaper.
SCV ready.
Okay. No shame in queuing up here because you're not gonna spend the minerals on anything else at the moment.
Right.
So one more SCV after this.
SCV
Go,
ready.
and then we're gonna wait for the barracks to finish. We can make the orbital and the Reaper.
SCV ready.
Ah.
Yeah, CC. Good. And then factory,
Command center upgrade complete.
refinery, SCVs, oh. Reactor, supply depot.
Has arrived.
So this supply depot is really clutch. It's like at the last possible second.
Yeah.
So that's the initial build, right? You can do this in every matchup. SCVs. Don't queuing one SCV is not too bad, right? Otherwise you're gonna have these.
Yeah. Second here, Terry. Where?
Your SCV
Gotcha.
production ideally should never.
SCV ready.
It's a pretty fundamental thing, not messing up your SCV production early on in the game. Yeah, so now you're gonna build a Widowmine and a starport and 2 marines. So Widowmine, starport.
SCV ready.
Yeah, so a bit slow, but yeah. Not too bad. Yeah, so constant marine production. You're gonna get an orbital, constant SCV production.
SCV ready.
When did you
You want a piece
drop
of
the other two
boy?
gas?
Much later, much later.
Okay.
That's not good. This is not a very gas heavy build. Yeah, and a second Widowmine.
Command center upgrade complete.
Gangway coming through.
Some more marines. Go, SCVs, mules, all that good stuff. And then a medevac.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
So you want to transfer some workers and set the rally points down to your natural. So you don't oversaturate.
Go, go.
Or you can do like that.
SCV
Yeah,
ready.
Yeah.
SCV ready.
Because yeah, I would have just transferred 2 workers. And then we were but it
Okay.
doesn't.
And you said tech lab on the.
Yeah, Tech Lab and Drax, second rank.
SCV
So yeah,
ready.
so because we were a bit slow, we have a bunch of excess minerals.
Ready for dust off.
So you probably have to, yeah, and then reactor on
Yeah.
your starport, drop the widow mines. You can probably set up an expansion already. Well, actually, you should have started your
Add-on
supply depot.
complete.
I forgot that.
SCV ready.
Those should have started a while ago. It was just the rhythm was a bit off because, yeah, a few seconds here and there sort of messes it up. You can start your expansion now. You can start on the high ground if you want. Yeah, so lift off your factory. You lift off and build a reactor. And then you lift off your barracks, land it, double eBay now. Oh, okay, that's a bit. Well, I was thinking you would lift off your naked barracks and land it.
Oh.
Yeah, I can land that one there. Yeah, and then stim. Yeah,
Add-on
good stim. There you go.
complete.
Now I can get more medevacs, more marines. From here it's just constant production. You can already add on more production.
SCV ready.
Yeah, a supply depots. It should be constant supply depots at this point.
Additional add-on
Forgot to say
complete.
that.
Okay.
Constant.
Armed and ready. SCV ready.
About when the third starts, that's when you want constant SMB production. Like 2 at a time, and then eventually 3 at a
Ready
time.
for dust off.
So don't forget mules as well.
It's not the. Where are you?
SCV
Yes.
ready. You want to
You just start the orbital and drop mules. You haven't dropped mules in a while. Mules are good units.
SCV
Well,
ready.
sometime now you want to start up your armory. So, like sometime after you start up 1-1, you want to start up your armory. So that when 1-1 finishes, the armory is done.
SCV ready.
I don't know the exact timing on that, but
Ready for dust off.
Okay.
Command center upgrade
go, go.
complete. Add-on complete.
so you want to land your third. So go then secure a third. So about now stim finishes. So I would push again. Your widow mine. Yeah, but that's fine.
Armed and ready.
Add-on
SCV ready.
So we don't have to push now because you're gonna win if you push. But in a normal game, I would push here.
research
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
And I think about 20% of the time you're gonna win. The other percent of the time they're gonna have too much. In that case,
Okay.
we just run back, lift off. If you want to scan their natural or where you think their army is before you go in, I think that's a good practice. So
Your
you don't
forces are
run
under
into like
attack.
8 colossus or whatever,
Yeah.
or like 40 banelings just sitting there. That would not be good. But this is most important versus yeah, just go home. Keep making stuff, more production. You've not been building behind this. Right, supply depots.
Gotcha.
Want to get combat shields and concussive shields now. 1-1 is about to finish up. More mines, more medevacs.
Upgrade complete.
It's about this time you can. When you have about 6
Additional
medevacs, we're gonna
supply
start making
depots.
liberators instead. That's about a good rule of thumb. Liberators are always good in the late game. Against pretty much every race.
Gotcha.
Try to have constant supply depot production if you can. We need way more production as well. You can go up to, yeah, you can add on 3 more racks now. I think. Unless you did that somewhere else. I don't know.
SCV ready. Go, go, go.
Here's a nice gas time. Yeah, you have to fill out the gases. Like I don't have the
Mineral
timing for
field
those.
depleted.
Yeah,
You
I've
will-
got
You will know this when you
so
need
many
them.
minerals.
Yeah. So 2-2 as well.
You want a piece of me, boy?
+2/+2.
Liberation is at hand.
If you can get your upgrade timings down, that's huge. Actually. Yeah, so make sure you, every time you build new barracks, make sure you add them to the hotkey group immediately. That makes it easier. You can actually add them when they're building.
Oh, it's on.
So I usually try to make that a part of the sort of macro process that every time you add on production, you immediately add them to
Ready for dust off.
hotkey group. Yeah, add them.
Gotcha.
You need add-ons as well.
Mineral field depleted.
So that's a neat thing when you hit the
Mineral
for you it's
field
number 5, right?
depleted.
You see if some barracks don't have
Gangway. Coming
add-ons,
through.
and you try to
Mineral
remedy
field
that
depleted.
immediately.
SCV ready. Armed and ready.
And then it's just
Add-on
macro.
complete.
Go, go,
And what's a good timing to push out after that?
When
Once
upgrades,
2-2's done?
yeah,
or-
when upgrades finish is a good, so very good. If you're not sure, like wait for the next sort of
Add-on.
batch of upgrades to finish. Yeah, we forgot combat shields and custom shields. Especially for getting combat shields is pretty huge. So that one you want to start up as soon as Stim finishes, ideally. So that one is actually higher priority than the +1/+1.
Mineral field
out.
depleted. Add-on complete.
You can even add on a 4th now, because we're almost maxed. And yeah, so now you don't need any more supply depots. Now you're gonna be on 200.
Yeah, I'm not used to having this.
Complete.
Not used to having this much stuff. I think.
Yeah. This is what's gonna win you most games.
Yeah.
Having this much stuff.
Upgrade complete.
SCV ready.
So yeah. So I would do
Okay.
exactly this in TVP and TDC.
Research.
In TVT, the only big difference there is that you need tanks, right? You need tanks, not mines. So that's the only real difference.
Ready for dust off.
Gotcha.
You might add Vikings instead of Liberating, sure. But other than that,
Mineral
And
field depleted.
that's that.
yeah, so it works.
Sure. Okay.
So now we have a general build, right? That has some pressure, has some, like, if you can pressure, do it. Versus Zerg, you absolutely have to, right? You have to force units. That's what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you understand, like, the dynamics of the Zerg economy, stuff like that. Because it's very different from if you're playing a Terran or Protoss. Because a Zerg, so this is a good thing to learn about early on, is that Zerg production is fundamentally different, right? From Terran and Protoss. Terran and Protoss, they make units and workers throughout the whole game all the time, pretty much.
Mhm.
A Zerg makes either units, attacking units, or workers. They don't make both at the same time, right? Because everything they have comes from larva, right?
Yeah. So
every unit.
killing drones hurts them a lot more, right?
Well, not only that, like if you can force units, so every unit they make is not a drone. That's also a way you have to think about it.
Okay. Okay.
So if you attack, they hold it, but you lift off and leave,
Mm-hmm.
you've basically killed a bunch of drones. Unless those attacking units were, they can use them in some way, right? If they
Yeah.
make 40 links, that could have been 20 drones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's also a way you have to think about it. Like, oh my god, he made so many links. He held my Hellions, right? But if you
Mhm.
made so many links, if you made too many links, that's good for you. Like, he killed his own drones, essentially. That's something. That's where you have to pressure a Zerg, so they can't just drone. Because if they can
Gotcha.
just drone, they will grow out of proportion. much faster than you can. They can expand faster than you. They can make more workers than you can. So they will just grow out of control. You need to make sure that it doesn't happen, and you do that by pressuring. So they can't just sit there unhindered and drown. Because a lot of lower level players lose to that. Right? They just
Yeah. Okay.
wave after wave of Zerg just come. You defeat one army and then another army comes and another. It just feels very frustrating.
Yeah, they can remax a lot quicker than
Yeah, absolutely. So
if you don't have the infrastructure set up. Yeah.
that's
Okay.
general thing. And then I guess.
Well, it's gonna take me a bit to practice that build and to get it.
Yeah, but you should have a
get
replay
it
of it
down.
now. You should have a replay of it now. So you messed up a
Yeah.
few things, but I don't know if you can't. Maybe you noticed that yourself. Like your starport was a tiny bit late. Your factory was also a tiny bit late. Like these things sort of added up. And then you want to have a look at the third and fourth supply depot as well, because you messed up
Mhm.
those. That was partially my fault, but like the build was a tiny bit off rhythm at that point. So usually I get it like when the first mine is halfway out or something like this. But since that was a bit delayed, like everything sort of got pushed out of the way. That's the thing with builds. Like if you mess up a little bit, like everything gets off rhythm. So it was
Yeah.
a bit off, but if not, uh, you have my replay to go after as well.
Mhm.
The one before that one should be the entire thing done more or less correctly, right? So maybe be a better one to go after. If we want to rename that or whatever. And then like you have some things you might want to consider, like um, in PvP, for example, if they go Colossus, you might need some Vikings. Like if you played Wings of Liberty, you should know this, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, the Colossus
Yeah.
is not as strong anymore, but it's still something you have to respect, right? You have to get
Mhm.
a bunch of Vikings out to deal with that. Unless you have ranged liberators, because they pretty much deal with everything. So late game,
Okay.
if you can get ranged liberators, they pretty much like Protoss only answer to ranged liberators are tempests. That's not very reliable for them to get out. Like it's very expensive. And the tempests are not really good versus anything else. So
Yeah.
so it's kind of a big investment for them. So if you can get ranged liberators, that's great. But you need a fusion core for that. And then you upgrade it at a tech lab attached to a starport. But that's late game, right?
Mhm.
Usually you should be able to end the game at about 10 minutes when you're almost maxed out. 2-2 is finishes up. That's the point where you should end both games, I think.
Okay.
Because that's when you're going to be as powerful as ever. If the game goes on longer, it becomes more complex, right? Well, if Sir gets some ultras or something, you need to answer that, whatever. And if Protoss has on both Storm and Colossus, becomes a bit of a headache, right? But,
Gotcha. So if I get this kind of polished down, how far do you see that taking me potentially?
Depends. It shouldn't be too hard. Like 10 tries, maybe you should be totally done, pretty much. Like it's different in a game environment, obviously,
Yeah.
where they don't let you maybe just sit back. It's smarter.
Do
Maybe,
what you want to. Yeah.
yeah, maybe you get rushed one game, and that's something we can talk about later. But for now, you're just gonna have to accept that you're gonna lose those games.
Yeah.
It's but then you learn like to scout for expansions and see. Like if you don't
Now
see
how?
a natural at 2 minutes, you need to start suspecting some sort of rush.
Mhm.
And then the usual best course then is like a bunker and maybe a cyclone or versus Zerg, usually a tank. Tank deals with most things. Uh, so yeah, if you can do that, it's really hard though. So I don't expect you
Okay.
to be able to
Yeah.
do that.
What's your, I guess, like philosophy or viewpoint on what do they call it, ladder anxiety? Because I got real close a couple games ago. I was like, 10 points from platinum or something like that, and then I lost like 5 games in a row, and kind of didn't feel like playing anymore ever.
Yeah, you
Um,
feel that sometimes. Like
so how did, yeah,
I had a trash down ladder yesterday. I scouted a proxy robo and I lost anyway, and that feels
hmm
just like fucking utter crap. But you have
yeah,
you have to just sort of move on. Like I'm not the most like I'm not the most grind ladder sort of guy either.
yeah,
So I get that, but like at some point you just have to. I just like, it's just like there's no easy method there. Like I've heard some people have some sort of tricks they do. I usually ladder in between stuff. Like I usually don't batch like 10 games. I usually do, like
yeah,
I watch something like a YouTube video or some shit, and then come back. I play like 2 games, and I'm like, okay, small break. I do like small breaks in
yeah,
between instead of doing like a batch of 10 games, then not playing for a
hmm
week and doing another batch of 10 games.
yeah,
So
okay.
you can usually get like in 5 games that way or something. But I'm terrible. I usually only get in like 100 games a season, which is not a lot.
Some of these people that have been beating me, I mean, good on them. They've got, 300 games this season,
Oh
500,
man,
you know.
you mean people like, oh, I have 4,000 games. Like, what
Yeah.
the
What
fuck?
else do you do? Do you ever eat? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know how they do it,
Okay.
but I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean they're good though, because I had in my old clan, I had a guy. He played about 3,000 games a season,
hmm
and he wasn't better than me, even though I played 100.
Yeah,
I
it comes
usually
down
actually
to
beat him.
the focused, I guess the focused practice and if you're paying
Yeah.
attention when you're
So what I
playing.
do is I have actually a notepad. I can
hmm
actually see if I can send. You can use it as sort of um. See where I have it. I have like a document that I can fill in and make notes in after every game. So I can send it to you so you can use that as sort of what do you call it, an outline or something.
Yeah.
So you can see what kind of I do. Uh, yeah, so there it is. So I kind of write down everything I'm thinking about, and so this is sort of. So if you can keep something like this, it's kind of huge. So everything something happens that you think is that's weird. You're like, well, so say you lose to a certain timing, you write that in, like figure out a way to beat this, and then you watch the replay and you think, oh, this way, and then when you figured it out, you maybe write under it, like when TVC when he does this, you answer with this, or whatever. Like I also have all my builds here that I usually do.
hmm
Um, so this is a good little trick you can try and do if you want. Like that's usually like because usually it's not about putting a lot of time in. Although if you can, that's obviously good. But if you can't, like it's better to have focused practice than a lot of practice. Quality over quantity, right? You can do that. That's a lot better in my experience. Yeah, but then like if you want to get down a new build, it's obviously you just have to grind it. Right? There's no way around that. Obviously, like getting the muscle memory and all of that.
Yeah.
It's no real shortcut to any of that. But if you want to improve, I've found that just grinding games isn't always the best way of doing it. So other than that, the only real difference, like TVC and TVP, is gonna be very similar. It's gonna be you're gonna be biomine pretty much. Um, but then TVT, you're probably gonna have to alter your build a little bit there. Um, so maybe we wanna have a quick look at that because it's it's very different from the other two matchups.
Okay.
So we're gonna we're gonna get something basic here. Probably won't have to practice this because it's gonna be very similar, but we might add on a few variations. There. Yeah. I would do the same thing in TVC and TVP as you just did. So
Okay.
no difference there. We're just gonna have a quick look at TVT. Mines aren't gonna cut it in this matchup. Mines are pretty trash unless you're using them defensively.
Let's go.
So you might have to delay your third a bit.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
This matchup is really volatile. You can die to pretty much anything at any time. That's the scary thing about it.
SCV ready.
Not enough.
So usually I really like to be the aggressor in this matchup. Because I feel like defending is a lot harder than
Additional supply
attacking.
depots required. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
So we're not gonna do double gas. You can do double gas in TVT, but that's not. Let's do a more middle of the road build.
SCV ready. SCV ready. SCV ready. Gotcha. Well, Buck. Go ahead.
Not enough minerals.
Huh? Yeah, what?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough. Command center upgrade. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Insufficient. Not enough.
So I usually do 2
SCVs
Reapers
are
in
under
this
attack.
matchup.
Not enough minerals.
That's
Not
the
enough
first
minerals.
variation.
SCV ready.
Alright, we're gonna make 2 Reapers instead of just 1.
Ah! You scared me.
Not enough.
Yeah, one replay I
minerals.
wanted to show you was a guy got a Reaper in, and I didn't respond well at all, and he just danced around for minutes and took out like everything I had.
So we're gonna have a look at that now. So what we wanna do is we get a Hellion.
Additional supply depots.
SCV ready.
Okay, well we're not gonna get Hellion.
Insufficient Vespine gas. Not enough minerals.
So something like this. This is very Reaper proof.
Yo.
Sort of. The Hellion
Not
deals
enough
very well with
minerals.
it.
Not enough minerals.
And then I usually get a Viking to with any sort of Banshee shenanigans.
Ready to raise some hell.
Add-on complete.
So without scouting the other guy, you're basically just preparing for
Yeah.
anything.
I'm sort
Okay.
of playing this from your perspective, and I'm not gonna expect you to scout that well.
Command center upgrade complete.
That's sort of the way I'm playing it. So get attack.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV
The
ready.
Viking is really good early on.
Not enough minerals.
It helps ward off any tank pushes because you're gonna have air superiority most likely, and it helps versus Banshee. So that's the only real thing you're
Okay.
gonna have to watch out for, the Banshee, because that could become a problem
Ready to blunder.
if you're not careful. We're gonna start up a second rack.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. Big job, huh? This better be good.
Additional supply depots.
SCV ready.
Additional supply depots required.
Yeah, so a bit of supply block
Go
there.
ahead. What's going on?
Well, actually, I wouldn't wall against her. I don't know why I'm walling. But walling my natural. There's no real point in doing that.
Add-on complete.
Yeah, TVT usually end up dropping everything behind the mineral line to fill it up, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
reduce movement for drops.
yeah. You can start up a third
Not
about
enough
now.
minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Usually, I start up my engineering way a
Not
lot
enough
earlier than this,
minerals.
but yeah, I haven't scouted, so.
Add-on complete. Not enough minerals.
So usually I would
Not
rely
enough
much more on
minerals.
scouting in this matchup. So the only thing I would do is like, instead of the third mule, maybe scan and see if it's possibly a banshee coming, because then you probably want some turrets, right?
Insufficient Vespene gas.
Now, would you put that on, like on the edge of the map, where the where they'd probably come in, or one in the mineral line, or what?
Well, versus banshees, I would put them in the middle of the line, but I usually like successively surround my base with turrets,
Insufficient Vespene gas.
like this.
Additional supply depots required.
Right, maybe get one here, one here. Sort of.
Not enough minerals.
Ready for dust off.
Additional supply. Insufficient Vespene gas.
Right, something like this. So I usually get my Vikings and Medivacs from here on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Something like this. That's very similar, actually. Just the double Reaper, and you don't get a mine, you get a tech lab and then a tank. Okay, and then you get a Viking. So that's a
Okay.
sort of defensive TVT opening. Now you can I would go scout with the two Reapers probably and the Hellion. Poke around, see what he has. If he has a Cyclone, you have to go back, right? If he doesn't, you should be able to put pressure on. If you can micro well, that's it. But you're not. You shouldn't be in that much. You shouldn't be in that much trouble to put pressure on because, well, you shouldn't have to put pressure on because your expansion is quite early, right? So economically, you're probably doing fine. And then it's just a matter of the late game, or the mid late game TVT, which is all about marine tank, right? And from there on, it's a game about positioning, right? You have to know where his army is all the time. So sensor towers is not a bad idea because you have to get your tanks into position in time. If you don't, you will just outright lose the game.
Yeah.
So and you need to get turrets around your base. Usually after the third is started, that's when you can about afford to start making some turrets. Otherwise, marine tank, medevac, some Vikings, and you should be good on that front. So that's it. Now I think we have a sort of rough build you can do in every matchup. If you need to practice it more, you can do it on your own. You should have the replay for it now. So
Yeah.
it's mainly after that. Like I had a supply block and stuff like that, so you can have a look at that. But generally the first sort of up until the Viking is solid. So that's something like that. So yeah,
Okay. I think really, I think before I start mixing my notes up and stuff, I think that's probably good for today.
yeah, I think so too. So just do these builds on ladder, and want to get a couple of games in until if we do another session, right? Because otherwise it's pointless if you haven't played anything. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. Plus having replays and stuff, you can
yeah, right. So we can actually delve into more specifics. This was more
and
general stuff.
actually look at it this time.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully.
So now we just made a plan about what roughly you can do in every matchup, and then we can have a look at more specifics next time. That's all.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So that's all for me this time, and we'll probably have a session sometime next week or something like that.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about times and stuff
Yeah. We'll figure it
a
out.
little bit later.
We'll
Sure.
figure it out. So thanks everyone for watching. Who watched on YouTube. Hope you guys learned something as well. If you didn't, well, tough luck. and and see you all guys next time.